Let's talk about Ruben Amorim, because he's wonderful, I think, so far from the outside looking in. His pictures, his charisma, the short interviews that we've heard with him. He's got a real sparkle about him, hasn't he?
I bet he does hit programmes.
I bet he does. I bet he loves a hit programme. And he really brushes his teeth as well. That's another observation. He's got lovely teeth.
Pearly whites, has he?
Got gorgeous teeth, hasn't he?
Not noticed.
Well, you have. You have.
I really haven't.
Right, let me get you a picture. Where are you, Ruben? I've
Okay,
got loads
you know that
on
doesn't work on radio, don't you?
loads on my bedroom wall. But I'll find some for you. I think he just looks
That's
like...
okay. I don't need to see Ruben Amorim's teeth to know
his face
he looks after his...
Okay. Did you see him out in Manchester yesterday?
I didn't see the pictures.
Yeah. He's out in Manchester, hoodie up, jacket on, all his mates around him, his staff.
Wearing a Santa's outfit, handing out presents.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll be doing that at Manchester United. But what do you think about him? I mean, coming in and there's a lot of expectations around him for now, isn't there?
Yeah, of course. And look, my love for Portuguese football is obvious, having lived and played out there, and I hope he does really, really well. And trust me, I'm no United fan. And look, for the good of the Premier League, I think it's good to see United up there fighting for the title, if not actually winning it. I just think that the culture has been so bad for so many years. It's chewed up some incredibly experienced and charismatic people, but also some people who aren't. Is he the man? Well, only time will tell, but what do we know of him so far? We know he's been incredibly successful. He's won titles at Sporting where Sporting didn't win for almost 20 years. Absolutely dominated this season, as well as obviously winning the title last season. With a style of a 3-4-2-1, I think the biggest thing for me, what he said was the first thing he's got to do, and he doesn't want to throw too many things at them, is identity. And I think it was said, like, it's not just about tactics, but that helps. As long as everyone knows what they're doing, what we've been seeing from Ten Hag, or not seeing, is an identity, is a philosophy, is a way of playing. What is he trying to do? Mm-hmm. We talked about Ange earlier. You may agree or disagree with his tactics, but at least you know what he wants his team to do. Mm-hmm. So I think that would be the case. Does he go 3-4-2-1 immediately, or does he wait and see, well, I'm not quite sure I've got these players? I think you look at scoring goals, obviously, is clearly important. How does he get Højlund to be the goal scorer that United want him to be? I personally said it at the time, he's an incredibly talented footballer, but to be the centre forward of Manchester United, arguably the biggest club in the world, that shirt weighs heavy. I'm all for buying youngsters and future, and I understand the profit side of things in terms of investing in these young players, but when it comes to a number 9, almost for any club, you need someone who's proven, and he's not proven. And then the other one is Marcus Rashford. Yep. What does he do with him? In the 3-4-2-1, where would he play? Bruno, he has to play. He's not your typical winger, obviously, so he'll be coming inside. It's almost like 2 10s. But I know that Ruben Amorim wants his 10s to be able to have the ability to go out wide and sort of be wingers as well. And now Bruno's not that type of player. So what do you do? Who do you play? I think I don't think the squad lends itself to the formation, but we'll see. Let's go back to Ruben Amorim at Manchester United, because he's been speaking to the club's in-house media channel about his plans to return the club to where it belongs.
The history of this club. All the people are hungry for success. This is the place I want to be, also because of that. Because you can be part of something special. We need time, but we have to win time. To win time is win games. But the most important thing for me is identity. Since day one, we will start with our identity. Of course, we are going to prepare the games, but we will focus a lot in our game model, how to play, how to press. If I have to say one thing, my main goal, my first goal is identity.
There you go. Identity, Scott, is number one focus. Where does he go in and start with that? Is that purely on the pitch?
It's everything. It's on the pitch, it's off the pitch. It's creating a culture where, people can criticise Harry Kane for what he said about criticising players who come away from England. Well, the bottom line is he's trying to say we're all a big team here. We're all creating a really good atmosphere where both on and off the pitch we're going in the right direction. And for too long for Manchester United, that has just not happened. Mm-hmm. So identity off it, identity on it, understanding what he wants. His English is very good. I think he's a very charismatic manager. And obviously sort of beating Manchester City, although they could have been 3-0 down Sporting just a couple of weeks ago in the Champions League, I think will be very, very helpful. Mm-hmm. And Ruud, to be fair, Ruud van Nistelrooy has done really well. the games they should have been winning, and obviously they drew against Chelsea. But I think there's just a little bit of a turnaround there where there's half a feel-good factor. Now Amorim is coming in, and I think it's really important just to win the next couple of games. But I'm fascinated to see whether he does go with his... He loves that system, whether he does go with that system straight away or says, do you know what, at this moment in time, these players aren't quite right for it.
And if it is to be that, I'll be kind of pegging on Lenny Yoro's fitness, who we've not seen, but it's reported that he's looking good, that he is in training, so he would be...
Yeah, it'd be one of the three.
Right?
Well, I think there's a few missing pieces to the jigsaw. It's a big jigsaw, and all the pieces are important. I think the centre half, the third centre half, is very important. I think the left wing back, Luke Shaw, I think he's a great player, I really do, but you just cannot rely on him.
Bless him.
And I think Malacia is back now in terms of training, but can you rely on him because he's had his injury problems? So I would imagine they'd go into the transfer market maybe even in January if they can, but who can you get that's a full quality in January at that position? But again, it's about finding going forward. Is it Ugarte and Maino as those two midfielders? Who are the wing backs going to be? Darlow one side, would you do Garnacho or would you do Mazwari? And then who are those two number 10s on top? There's a lot of things he needs to sort out.
I like the look of Ugarte. I'm liking what he's got to offer. And I wonder that about Højlund as well. Rasmus, he's a young lad, as you mentioned, but you got Ruud van Nistelrooy, one of the most deadly finishers that club's seen, and he couldn't even seem to do it with him as manager. And I know that's tough, and I know he's young, and I know it takes time. And look at Gyökeres, it didn't happen for him here in this country. What did at Coventry was scoring goals, but he didn't get to the Premier League. So sometimes it is that slow burn. It takes time for a striker to really find their way, especially in the Prem.
I think, again, we all want the here and now, and we're asking these youngsters who are not ready. And you can talk about Nicholas Jackson as well for Chelsea, where last season I did see a lot of talent and potential, but I was like, he's not quite ready to be Chelsea's number 9, but let's give him time. And it's the same with Højlund. This is a really talented guy. Physically, he's strong. He's very, very quick. He's got a good touch. Could he be a little bit more clinical in front of the goal? Well, couldn't most strikers. But again, I go back to the fact there'd be a Manchester United number 9, number 1, their main striker. That's a heavy shirt. So to ask him to come in and do it immediately when the culture for years and in the dressing room has not been good as well, that's a lot to ask. It really is.
That's what I think Amorim is different this time, is the structure at Manchester United is different. It feels like it's set up for success. So this manager is brought in with a backing, with a clear plan in place, and knows what his job is, and everybody else is doing their jobs. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think you can criticise Ineos, and I would, because I sat here with Natalie Sawyer the Monday after the FA Cup final and said, and got pelters for it, that I think Ten Hag should go. They should let him go and bring someone else in. But it looks like they've got everybody in place, and now the missing piece there was the manager. Yeah. So now it looks like they've got the right manager. They'll all work together to get to the right culture, the right type of player. But you know what, Shebahn? Sometimes the hardest thing, and not necessarily bringing the right players in, is getting the wrong players out when they're on big contracts, big money. There might have to be a financial aspect to pay them off. Again, that's a PSR problem they might have to deal with, but it's just as important, if not more, to get the wrong ones out and get the right ones in.
It's a good point. Manchester United fans, if you're enjoying this international break and you want to have your little fix and offer your thoughts on that, 03717 223344. And where will Ruud van Nistelrooy be going next? He's linked to the likes of Coventry, West Ham, Wolves, Burnley.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.